Hey everybody, What's It Fox Gaming here. So I've got actually two builds for you today. This is all centered around completing legendary strongholds in game. So TU 10.1 dropped this week, and with it came a lot of loot changes. The minimum roll when playing on heroic and legendary was buffed, I believe, significantly. And after a bit of testing, me and my clan, we've since discovered that legendary strongholds are now the single best loot farm in the game, and quite considerably. They don't drop a huge amount of loot because they're classed as a mission, and you get the quantity from like the dark zone and control points, but the quality of the loot that drops from these strongholds is insane. I'll go as far as to say 60 to 70% of everything you'll pick up in a legendary will have at least one god roll stat, if not two or more. We were getting triple gold rolls, we were getting everything, and we ran them 3 or 4 times in total. It's insane. It's crazy how much loot that you get and the quality of the loot. So you want to be paying attention to the targeted loot on the 3 strongholds every day for something that you need. You've got DUA, which as of today is Gilla. You have Cap Hill, which as of today is shotguns, and on the other side of the map you have Roosevelt, which is Murakami. So if you're looking for a particular brand set, you need to be waiting until it's legendary if you want to have an efficient farm. Run through this 2 or 3 times whilst it's on, and I guarantee you'll come out a lot better off than when you went in. So there are only 2 builds that you will need to clear legendary content with absolute ease, even if you are new to legendary, you're new to the game. What I'm going to show you now are 2 very easy to put together builds, minimal farming to get these pieces. You want 1 person on one of the builds and 3 people on the other build. So I'll explain why that is and what we're going for here. I will link in the description my original skill build video, because that works just as well as this. It's like 1 or 2% less damage. So the build that you see in front of you, and I suggest that you screenshot this, is the build that you want to have 3 of your 4 clan members, friends, squad, whatever, running. This is a very traditional build, and you would have seen this before. That's actually the wrong chest piece. There we go. So you want to run 3 hardwired. The 2-piece gives you 15% skill haste, and the 3-piece gives you 15% skill damage. This is slightly higher than running 3-piece Murakami, as I used to run. They already roll with skill tier, and they only have 1 attribute, so you just need to roll skill damage on all 3 pieces. Where they are is irrelevant, as long as it's not the chest or the backpack, so just bear that in mind. For the other 3 pieces, you want to be running 1 Wyvern for the 10% skill damage. This needs to be rolled into skill haste and skill damage too. And the talent that you want is either glass cannon or kinetic momentum. Both of those will give you a nice big damage buff to your skills. I ran glass cannon, but it's up to you. That can be a little bit hairy if you have 3 people on that, so maybe kinetic momentum is a better choice. The other 2 pieces need to be Hana Yu, 10% skill haste and 10% skill damage. So this is the easiest way to hit max skill damage in the game. You can technically hit a little bit high with the 4-piece hardwire, but you've got to swap skills all the time, so we're not worried about that. This is supposed to be a simple, accessible build for people that are experienced with the game to smash through legendary, or people that are newer to that content to try it for their first time and actually succeed without too many frustrations. So the 2 pieces of Hana that you ideally want to have the named Hana Yu backpack, because that gives you the perfect version of combined arms. So it's 30% skill damage just for shooting an enemy instead of 25%. This is the highest way to get damage on a skill build. And then in conjunction with the harmony that we just spoke about, you're getting the 40% weapon damage from this and the 30% from this just for shooting in an enemy, and that's on top of the 25% that you're getting from glass cannon. Just make sure that all pieces again are rolled as close to what I have here as possible, the skill damage and skill haste. For your mods, you'll want to consider running skill duration and skill haste. You don't need anything else. Skill duration is usually better for these 2, so I would recommend that you run that. Skill haste, yeah, if I had 3 skill duration mods and I could fit them here, then I would. I'm pretty sure I do actually, but the Hana Yu does actually come automatically with the red slot. That's really not the end of the world. The 2 skills, you may already know this: assault turret, striker drone. Spec them all for damage and duration. And then essentially those 2 skills, you want to try and focus on the same target. Just prioritize whatever's rushing you for the most part. So usually you go for like the rushes first, the heavy second, and then like the grenadiers and the warhounds in the background that are causing you some crossfire from that. So yeah, you'll have to learn what to prioritize, and you'll figure that out over time anyway. But the general rule of thumb is whatever is closest and most threatening needs to be your target for both skills. With regards to your class, the best one to run is Technician. However, if you are serious about hitting legendary content as a 4-stack, you'll want to have The other build that I'm about to show you is the only technician user, and then the other 3 skill builders should be Demolitionist for the 5% damage to targets out of cover, Survivalist for 10% extra damage to anything the state is affected, which is easy to do, and then the third one could be whatever you want. It doesn't really make a difference. You could just have 2 technicians if you want. You know, maybe a sharpshooter because they have blind grenades, a gunner because they have foam grenades. It doesn't really make a difference. You know, anything that you want to try out a skill on, just go for it. So that's the first build there. So screenshot that if you haven't already, with those skills and everything there. That's exactly what you want to be looking for. The second build, and this is what the final person will be using, this is what I run, is a variant of this. So this build needs to be on Technician. You really want to be keeping the Harmony and the Sweet Dreams, the Lullaby, because you know, obviously the shotgun can shut down anything that runs at you, and this is just 40% skill damage for no reason whatsoever. They're definitely going to nerf this in the future, I can pretty much guarantee it. But as it stands, this is ridiculously strong. This time you want to be running the 4-piece hardwired. You're going to have on the exotic BTSU data gloves because we're going to be overcharging our team, and you're going to have Overwatch on your chest as opposed to glass cannon or kinetic momentum. You still want to be speccing everything into skill damage, as you can see I've done here, and ideally you want the backpack because that decreases the feedback loop cooldown from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. So essentially if you read the 4-piece bonus there, whenever you use or cancel a skill, your other skill's cooldown is automatically reduced by 30 seconds while increasing total skill damage and repair by 10% for 20 seconds. Usually that can only occur every 20 seconds, and we've dropped that to 10. So what you want to be running here is the Artificer as one of your skill, and anything else that you want that has a 30-second cooldown or less that has high damage. The best choices here are the Demolitionist that I'm running here, the Bombardier drone, the sticky bombs, any variant, but I go with just the standard explosive one because it hits really hard, and that does now work with hardwired, by the way. The Seeker Mine is really good as well. Anything that has that sort of 30-second or less cooldown that hits quite hard, that's really what you want to be using. You can still put in a turret here or a drone if you really want. That doesn't make a difference, but the whole point is that you want to get a powerful skill every 10 seconds. The main point of this build is to support and massively buff your other skill users in the team. So if we look at the Artificer Hive just here, a lot of people get confused with this, so I'm going to explain exactly what this does. The reason that we're incorporating this as of TU 10.1, even though it was very viable before, was all of the hives have had a buff. Their duration is a lot longer, the drone speed is faster, the radius is better, how many charges you get is better, the skill haste is better, and this is all on a skill tier 6 build. So drones have just had, hives have just had a significant buff all around. So let's have a look on the right hand side, the stats of this Artificer hive. If you go down to just below health, you'll notice it says buff amount 70%, buff duration, skill repair and skill refresh. Buff amount 70% is skill damage. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Artificer hive buffs base skill damage by 70%. I tested this just a few moments ago with the turret here, and it was hitting 130k normally, and then 170 point something k with the Artificer. A massive buff. The whole point of this is to have 4 skill builders sat roughly on the same bit of cover, ideally with 3 of you on turrets, and possibly even the 4th on a turret as well yourself, because those 4 turrets in range of the wide radius of this Artificer is going to buff all 4 of them dramatically. 70% skill damage buff. The buff duration is 10 seconds. That simply means when one of the little drones flies out of the Artificer and into a skill, that buff will last for 10 seconds even if the Artificer is picked up, for example, or moved or breaks down. Skill repair is 112%. That means as long as your Artificer has charges and the damage isn't so massive that it breaks your skill in one, your skills cannot die. It heals for more than the skill's health, 112%. So it's crazy. It just keeps them topped off at maximum at all times. And finally, skill refresh is 15 seconds. So what this does is the duration. So when you've got a skill that's on the floor, if you look on the right there, you'll see that orange bar. Every 10 seconds, that will be refreshed by 15 seconds for other skills. So again, it makes them last technically for an unlimited period of time until you have charges. So that's essentially what all of the buffs do, or the stats do with the Artificer. So yeah, it's really powerful for skill builds. It works better on stationary skills, but it does also buff non-stationary skills as well. What I like to do with this, since it's been buffed, is run it with the sticky bomb. Specifically the explosive version. But the fire one is really good as well, particularly if you have a survivalist in the party. What you want to be doing every time it is available, usually at a boss phase, is overcharging your team. Because when you break down the Artificer, you get the charges back so quickly, and as it only has to apply one drone to one skill every 10 seconds, and it calculates that very well, you don't actually use a huge amount of charges. It's a lot more efficient than the healing hive. You know, it does last a long time. So yeah, you know, overcharging every 120 seconds is fine. But if you're unfamiliar with the BTSU, essentially when you break down the hive, you physically hold down the right bumper button in this case, you send everybody into overcharge, including yourself. So all of a sudden your secondary skill does mad damage, whatever one you go for, and the charges in this come back really quickly. So you can redeploy it almost instantly. You also get 15% hive skill haste per skill tier. So that's another reason that BTSU works really well with the Artificer. So that's the build there. Technically speaking, we're buffing our team's skill damage by, well, 70 plus 12%, so 82%, and that includes yourself just by having this build. If you don't want to run a redeployable skill, or a skill that you can sort of use over and over every 10 seconds, then go for a turret. That works, actually, I think just as well. I just like the burst damage of a sticky bomb or a seeker mine, and you know, if there are ways that you can apply status effects with a survivalist in your party, well, even better. That's what you want to be doing. So run whatever skill you want here, but if you do decide that you're only going to run a turret, which is a very strong choice, get rid of the backpack, because you won't be breaking down and redeploying your skill all the time, and instead run the Hanayu. Just get that perfect combined arms in there, and then in conjunction with your Harmony, that's your own personal skill damage massively buffed. So one person on this build, if you screenshot that again, and then 3 people on the other build, you all want to be grouped up together, and I can guarantee you will breeze through her legendary content faster than you ever have. We were clearing some rooms so insanely quickly, just because we were overcharging at the right time, and because it gives so much extra skill damage to everybody, you can afford to run a bit of variance in your builds. So with the original build, you would always have the turret. I think the turret is a must because it's a stationary skill and it can always be placed next to the hive. So I think a turret should be the main for the other 3 people. But for your secondary, we were going for the oxidizer, because when overcharged, that thing is ridiculous. It does insane damage. You know, we were having hives. We were doing seeker mines, both the cluster and the explosive. So as long as you got the turrets in the party, the 3 people on a turret, their secondary skill can be whatever they want. It really doesn't make a difference. It's whatever they're comfortable with. And then for yourself, that's also true as well. The best combination is probably what you see here. You need the Artificer. Turret is probably best here, but I like to run the hardwired and just keep spamming out you know, the sticky bombs. So what I'm going to do is take this into a mission and try and demonstrate how it works. Oh, what am I queuing for conflict for? Well, that was a that was an old habit there, kicked in. Went into autopilot. Let's do some go. Actually, I'll tell you what, even better. Matchmake that way, because you're always getting faster then. So I am solo queuing into a mission. This obviously doesn't work anywhere near as well if you don't have skill builders. It does work with Eclipse users as well, as long as they get buffed by your hive every now and again. It constantly buffs deployed skills, so you really want to be using deployed skills, which is why I suggested that the turrets are basically a must. Everything else, though, you can afford to run other skills. If your seeker mines go through the hive whilst they're travelling to their target, they receive the buff, 70% more damage. Anything that passes through it. When you don't have it out and it's holstered on your back, it then buffs you directly. So it just sort of heals any skills like a shield that you have in your hand and buffs the damage on the skills that you're about to deploy. So you don't even need it out for your personal use. But obviously the point of this build is to have big big skill damage for you, but also buff everybody else's. Right, that's enough talking. I know that was 2 builds to explain there and why they're good, so
be careful, Agent.
now what we're going to do is shoot some stuff. Let's go for burn.
Analyzing data. Positive identification.
So we do have a skill builder on our team. Awesome.
Rogue agent deceased.
This doesn't make any
In fact, everybody's a
sense.
skill builder. Where's this guy put his turret? So I really want to be next to that. Up there. Perfect. Oh, can't I jump over this? No! This is going to be brave to make this jump, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to sit next to this, and if I now pop this out, this will become... There you go, see that little symbol there with a little battery symbol above the hive? This is now doing 70% more damage. So what I'll do is ideally have all of your team next to you with your turrets. They can position elsewhere, that's absolutely fine. If you look at the cooldown symbol there, when it disappears, I can pick up the hive, redeploy it, and I've got this straight back. Pop it out. There you go. Massive damage, massive damage. Same thing, wait for the hardwired symbol disappear. It's already gone.
An agent needs
Redeploy
assistance.
that. Straight back out again. It's crazy damage. So this is like, me myself am doing a lot of damage, but you're buffing your team substantially just by having the hive next to their deployed skills. Obviously I'm only doing it against this guy at the moment, but this thing is not losing any health. The duration will be maximum because it's buffing more than it's going down. Yeah, it's insane. It just makes turrets gods here. Try it with a sniper turret as well. Ooh, headshot. Really good if you pair it next to a healer hive, a res hive, a stinger hive as well. You can like pair it up with that. The artificer since TU 10.1 is insane. It's best in slot for this kind of build. And by running that with the BTSU, yes, you're losing out on some of your own personal damage, as I said before, but honestly, it's worth it. Like, we'll come into this next room. I'll overcharge because we've got some skill builders here, and you'll see. You'll see. You'll see.
This kid changed his facial recognition record on the Shade database. I fixed the exploit. Shouldn't be a
Yeah, I'm really proud
problem
of this build. Since I read about all the buffs earlier in the week, I was like, I need to try that artificer and the booster as well, because I knew that they would be good. Where's Matey Boy going to pop his turret? Anybody? Turret's like some cooldown, isn't it? Right, let's give him his cooldowns back. So now we are overcharged. If I pop this out, watch the radius size of that. And see how quickly I'm getting back the charges, so I can just pop this down now. Get this off again.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
You know, if you've got a survivalist in the party, you'll be doing more damage to this guy because he has the burn on him.
Agent down.
So even that's buff now, so if somebody was shooting that out, they wouldn't be able to unless they had like huge raw damage. Yeah, I like this build. It's good. So, and you can. This is the thing. You can still run this through heroic mission content as well. So I know in the next part of this mission that I'm going to need an EMP. So I'm going to switch to that. I'm going to pick this up. It'll come out of cover, but screw it. I'll have to redeploy it, and that's got that skill back. So I can now go straight in and swap it. Pulse. EMP. There we go. See how good these rolls are. Max swap speed. Ugh, rainbow. Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. So because it offers so much skill damage, you don't have to just use the same skills all the time. If you know the layout of the missions well, so in fact, I'll stay up here with this guy. I was going to sit down below, but yeah, if you know the layout of the missions well, then you can change your skills accordingly. So sometimes it might be good to use an EMP jammer, an EMP sticky bomb for dogs that are really far away.
Rogue striker drone detected.
So both of these should get buffed. Okay. That's them all dead. Now that I've not got my hardwire cooldown, do that, get it straight back again. Instant EMP jammer. Hardwire cooldown's about to run out again. Pick it up. Put it down. EMP again. So yeah, hardwired is really good at the moment. You definitely want to be incorporating that in all of your skill builds. You just don't need the 4Ps for what essentially the other 3 people in the team will be using, because you know you lose out on damage that way with the certain skills. But yeah, no reason they can't. They could just run this build, but have Hannah Yu or China Light here, for example, if they wanted to use any explosive skill. There you go. And then again, if you have the survivalist, that would just be a way for you all to get the extra damage. So yeah, really, really flexible, this build. I wonder if it buffs the shock traps. well, it gives them all the immune to shock
Getting a ping
and
next door in the infirmary.
EMP.
Parnell must be there.
So yeah, we'll call the missions quit there. You know, I don't want to go through. Sorry, we'll call the video quit. So I don't want to go through the whole mission and make it too long. This is already starting to get long enough as it is a 2-build video. But yeah, that's what it is. It works really well. You can run it with all directives because you can just use any pistol that you want. Just get on with spike on it, or if you run technician, you've already got the perfect spike. You know, if you get a pistol shot on an enemy and then your own skill kills them, it drops the
3D
ammo from
projection
pistol arrow
device
anyway, so you
detected.
even actually end up with harmony ammo pretty
Parnell
early
can create
into every
holograms
legendary
of
mission.
himself?
One of those
We were
fuckers
running
is
ours
more than
with,
enough.
I think, 3 or 4 directives on, and it was so easy with this build combined with the other one with all the skills. It's this that makes it though. The artificer, this is the centerpiece of everything. You have that with 3 to 4 turrets. You can run whatever the hell you want for your secondary skills. It doesn't make a difference. You're going to just clean house. So that's the builds. I will be a bit more descriptive in the actual description notes, so just sort of read down there if you want to, you know, quickly copy and paste the exact build loadouts there. Drop me a message on Xbox if you have any questions about the build, or leave me a comment as well. I'll be happy to answer it publicly. I've got a few more PvE builds coming up shortly. I think I'm going to focus on PvE over the next week, and then we'll have a look at AR buffs the week after. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much if you did stick through to the end. I know that was quite a lot to take in, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.